You got to stand up for her. Now, let me just explain something to you. We all have a story, right? We all have, I said no matter the adversity, you still can make it. We talk about that. But when I met Ashley, I think it was last year, I can't remember. I met her some time ago, and her story absolutely captivated me. It was around 2017. Where she got the news that her fiance and her were getting ready. They wanted to get married. They wanted to have the nuptials. And she found out that this young man had cancer. And not just cancer, but a form of cancer that only 35% recover from. Am I right, Ashley? Yeah. And here she is, 31 years old. Here she is getting ready to be a bride, to plan a wedding, and all of a sudden she finds out she's not just going to be a bride. She's not just going to plan a wedding. She's about to be a caretaker. And it's like, well, maybe we shouldn't do it. This was Ashley's lot in life. These were the cards that were dealt to her in an instant. And her fiance, who was so cool, I've met him before, he said, we ain't putting this wedding off. We're gonna fight this, yo. And Ashley went from just being a blissful future bride with butterflies in her eyes to actually having to be someone that had her nose to the grind, raising the money, becoming the number one breadwinner, being the number one caretaker, and trying to find a way to take care of herself. She wrote a book, ladies and gentlemen. I got it right here in my hand. I even got the signed copy, yo. It's called Lost Travel Found, Turning Pain into Purpose. And tonight we're going to discuss with Ashley. We're going to discuss with her. We got 30 minutes, but we're going to take all 30 of them and get it all out. Because here's what I want you to understand. If somebody like Ashley, her story, if you're listening to us tonight, if somebody's like Ashley's story can inspire you to say, man, I'm not giving up, then we've done our job tonight. Put your hands together in the studio and welcome my friend, Ashley Jackson. Welcome, Ashley.
Yay, thank you so much. I got excited about that intro.
Well, intro is worth the price of admission. You know what I'm saying, sister? So we're so delighted to have you back. Is this your second or third time, Ashley? Third time? Man,
you can't get rid of me.
This is how you know where you rank. I was just telling Ashley in the pre-show, I said, Sister Ashley, you are in a different circle of the inner circle, because she don't just talk about it, she is about it. And so Ashley, let's get right to it, because we got a lot to cover. I want you to tell everybody how they can find you and how they can reach you, because that's the first thing we do. Go.
Yeah, absolutely. You can find me timelessdreamevents.com. You can find me Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, Timeless Dream Events. I am pretty much all over the place. The book is on Amazon. If you want a signed copy, go to my website, timelessdreamevents.com, and you can get your signed copy there. And actually, I will be running a special on my signed books later this week. So You caught me at a great time.
I'll caught you at a great time. So timelessdreamevents.com. Thank you, VP Greg, for being on deck. You got your Facebook page up there. Go ahead and put her website there so we can pin it, Greg. Timeless Dream or Dreams?
Dream.
Okay, timelessdreamevents.com. Timelessdreamevents.com. Thank you, Greg, our VP, the man from 500 yards away, making stuff happen in the chat.
We appreciate you.
Yeah, Greg is the man, man. I love him to death. He is another one of those people, like we were talking about in the pre-show, Ashley. He promotes others. Like, I'll go look at his page and he done shared somebody selling wigs, and then he done shared somebody else making fish plates.
I love that.
You know what I mean? That's a mentality, though. It's like, Greg in our company, he's been with me since the beginning, and it's never been about him, even though he gets as much as I get. Whatever comes in, I give him a third of it, right?
Yes.
But he's never been about Greg Smith. He's always been about others. And you're like that too, Ashley. So we're thankful for you. Get us caught up. I know you pretty well. You're my home sister from Ohio, the Buckeye State.
That's right.
Get us caught up on who Ashley Jackson is. Introduce yourself to our new listeners.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for the platform again. Like I said, this is the third time, but it's always a pleasure. So, you know, in Chris's intro, he nailed it. I was 31, newly engaged, 2.5 months newly engaged, and my fiance Troy was diagnosed with a rare cancer in stage 4. And we just sat there shocked because he was 37 at the time, and we weren't thinking anything cancer, especially not fourth stage.
Right.
So, after a moment of sorrow and self-pity, I heard him say, "I'm not going down like that." And I
Wow.
looked at him, I said, "Oh, okay. Uh, all right, sir." I wiped my tears and I said, "All right, if you're in it, I'm in it. Let's go." It's not an easy road becoming a caregiver, especially at 31, to someone that you love.
Right.
The another man that I loved very deeply in my life had passed away maybe 6 years. Yeah, it was about 6 years prior to that, which was my father.
Hmm.
So, I got those thoughts in my head. Oh my gosh, another man that I love that has my heart could possibly pass away. But with his spirit, his character, we fought together. Being like I said, being a caregiver is not easy. It's not for the faint of heart. But going up and down the highway an hour and a half one way, and then coming back an hour and a half, entertaining ourselves with songs. Just staying encouraged when when he was sitting in the chemo chair, when he was doing radiation, when he was losing weight, when he got sick.
Right.
I'm also having to work 40 hours per week to sustain us
Yeah.
living.
Right. Yeah. That's the thing. Is like, when we talk about adversity, I started, sometimes we could, like you say, we can get in a moment of self-pity, but
Yeah,
when adversity comes, it doesn't give us the opportunity necessarily to say, okay, well, hold on, let me get myself positioned perfectly for this type of adversity, right?
right.
You know what I mean? Because I was reading about that, traveling an hour and a half one way. I mean, like, I can barely drive out of town 30 minutes before I'm starting to yawn. And you're spending 3 or 4 hours on the road for treatment. And you had this looming cloud over your head that, hey man, there's only a 35% chance that
Yeah,
my fiance is going to make it. So now at 31, because I really wanted to try to help some people. I got some folks that are close with me that are caretaking for family members, etc. And we're gonna kind of need to lean on you tonight, okay, in this regard.
sure.
At 31, you're supposed to be going into a different phase of your life, figuring out your career. And so tell us about the dynamics of becoming a caretaker at that age.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, honestly, we had so much planned, because, like I said, he had just proposed to me. Like, we were going to have an engagement party. We were thinking of the traveling that we were going to do later that summer. And, it just all got wiped off the slate.
Hmm.
And I was mad. Um, I wasn't mad at him.
Hmm.
I was just mad at the situation. And I've had to come to terms, like, that's okay. Like, that's a feeling that you may have. Um, I I was in a moment of despair,
Hmm.
because I wasn't sure what to do. When I'm looking to the left, I'm looking to the right, I'm seeing my friends vacationing, doing all the things that I wanted to do, that I thought I was going to be able to do. But instead, I'm having to go to the hospital with Troy. And, there's a lot of feelings surrounding, caregiving. And I'm just here to tell young caregivers, millennial caregivers,
Yeah.
and spousal caregivers,
Yeah.
it's okay. Feel your feelings. Do not let anybody tell you any differently.
Mm.
Um, I know that saying that, God only gives his battles to the strongest warriors. I I'm tired. I don't want to have this battle anymore. That's okay to have those kind of feelings.
Wow. See, and that is so good. Ladies and gentlemen, you're tuning in to Impact Life 24/7. I have in the virtual studios with me all the way up there in Ohio, somewhere around Akron, Canton, somewhere around in that area. She's from the Buckeye State. My dear friend, Ashley Jackson. She is the author of the book, Lost Travel Found, which I have a signed copy. You can get yours at Amazon.com. But she talked about this. She just said, this is powerful. I'm probably going to take that and put it into a reel for us. You said feel your feelings,
Yeah.
embrace your feelings. What I've talked to, and some people who are going through what you went through, is they feel guilty
Yeah.
about some of their feelings.
And don't, because you don't know what that person's going through until you have to walk in those shoes, and it's shoes that we don't want anybody to fit in.
Right.
We don't want people to have to go through this. There is that caregiver guilt. um, can I step away to get a manicure, pedicure? Can I step away to get a massage? Can I
Right.
just have 10 minutes to listen to some music or read?
Yeah.
Oh shoot, I should be using that half hour to clean the house because I wasn't able to get to it yesterday. You know, just breathe.
Yeah.
Breathe. Like, you are allowed to have those feelings, those thoughts, just don't stay in them. You
Ah.
have to build in self-care time. Start at 5 minutes, and then, okay, that 5 minutes worked, let's build to 10, and
Hmm.
maybe a half hour, an hour, like, just keep
Yeah.
building upon that.
So you bring up a good point, because oftentimes people are in caretaker mode, and then it's just wash, rinse, and repeat, right? And
Mhm.
they don't have, they start falling apart. Their health starts declining, right? They, the depression sets in, because it's
Yes.
like two dichotomies here. You got one where you're not going through what your spouse is going through, or what your loved one is going through. You're watching them go through hell, but then at the same time, they don't necessarily know what you're going through, because you're trying to prop this thing up.
Yep.
You're trying to keep everything afloat.
Yep. Absolutely. It wasn't until Troy read my book, he came in after he got done, he was crying, and he said, babe, why didn't you tell me you felt like that? Or that there was those times that you broke down crying,
Hmm.
or that you just went out somewhere and screamed in the empty field. I'm like, because those are moments that I couldn't share with you, because you were sitting in that chair getting pumped full of chemicals,
Right.
or you were in a dome getting radiation. That was not for me to share with you at that moment, in that moment.
Right. So,
S-
and I get what you're saying, relative to, you don't want to expel your feelings on the one you're caring for. But did you have some external supports, or some external outreaches, or people, or faith groups, or whatever, that you were able to lean on?
Yeah, absolutely. My mom, Mama J, if you're listening right now, I
I
love you.
see her. Yeah.
That's my number one girl. She is such a huge support system, not only to me, but because of the love I have for Troy. She loves him like her
Ah.
own son, and she would do anything for him. And my grandma,
Hmm.
Nana Jackson, if you're listening, thank you so much. She would cook when I needed her to.
Yeah.
Um, and there's so many other people. One of my really good friends, Farron, my cousin Tara. If y'all are listening, thank you so much. There would just be sometimes I pick up the phone, just cry.
Now, I want you to understand, ladies and gentlemen, stay with us just for a hot second if you're passing through. Look, y'all, I got all this wireless equipment now, and it's all falling off of me. I mean, we coming big time now, Ashley.
I mean, dang.
We ain't little time no more. You know what I'm saying?
Uh-oh. Oh, hey.
let me let me just tell our listeners, okay? I'm joined by my friend from Ohio, my sister. She's no longer a friend; she's a sister from Ohio, Ashley Jackson. Her book that I have, you need to get a copy of it, Lost Travel Found. Basically, the synopsis is her at 31, she was engaged to be married to an amazing man named Troy, who found out that he had cancer and only a 35% survival rate. It was, I couldn't even try to pronounce it. Can you pronounce it?
Is squamous cell carcinoma of the nasal cavity.
Yeah. And he had to go through some rigorous surgeries, didn't he?
Yes. Yes. So the chemotherapy and radiation just didn't take like they thought that it would.
Mm-hmm.
It did in the beginning and then it didn't. So they had to go in with surgery. Surgery was very invasive.
Yeah.
They gave us the consequences that could happen. We said, whatever, just do it, because it was about survival at this point.
Yeah.
But when I go in to see him after it's done, I almost break down. And again, my mom was right there to literally catch me because I almost fainted when I first saw him. But
Yeah.
she brought me out before he saw my reaction. And he had lost his eye, a part of his nose, and a portion of his skull.
Wow. And again, ladies and gentlemen, this is something that Ashley received at 31 when she was supposed to be prepping for be walking down the aisle with little girls throwing lilies out of the basket, right?
Yep.
And instead she's thrust into being a caretaker. And you know, you've got us you got us a manual, and so does your sidekick, Miriam Baldwin. She's got us a manual for this. But when you were going through it, you were like building the plane as you were flying it, weren't you?
Oh yeah, flying by the seat of my pants because I
Yeah.
didn't know what I was doing.
And so this one part of the story, Greg, I'm just telling you, the story is just it's mind blowing, Greg. But one part of the story really just touches my soul, right? I think if I get it right, y'all bless me. But if I get it wrong, Ashley can correct me. You guys got kind of out of the woods, and then you went for a check or something, and they said, "Oh no, we hate to tell you this, but it's back and more aggressive, and you only got a short few seconds to live." Was it something along that line?
It was close.
Okay.
Yes. This was so the first surgery was before we got married.
Right.
So when you're talking about that sickness and in health,
Yeah.
we was doing this before we got married.
Girl, you was living it.
Yes. After our wedding, upon our return back from our honeymoon, we hear news that the tumor was growing again. There's nothing else that can be done. You might want to call hospice.
Right, because he can't get any more radiation, right?
Correct. So he has had the lifetime full of radiation for his neck and head region. He is never allowed to have any more radiation.
Oh my. Can you, ladies and gentlemen, can y'all imagine how intense this had to be on Troy, on his body?
Yeah.
And then for Ashley, who was healthy, to have to watch him, you know, go through this. And so you got this news, and what happened?
Again, Troy's like, I finally got this woman to say yes to me. She
Right.
married me. There's got to be another option. And he will not take no for an answer. He said, I don't know what you got to do, but you got to figure out another option, whether it's another chemotherapy or another surgery, but you got to figure it out because I'm not leaving. I'm not going to hospice.
Right.
And literally almost a week later, or maybe 10 days later, we got a call from his oncologist saying that the oncology board at the hospital was willing to let another surgery proceed because it might possibly not be tumor. So because of your persistence. And that's another thing with being a caregiver, you become a tiger,
Yeah.
a lion of sorts, a lioness.
Mm-hmm.
um, you really have to fight for your person.
Yeah.
And that's what we did, so that he could get that second surgery. Now that second surgery, it did prove that it was not tumor, but what was happening was that dead tissue looked
Mm-hmm.
like tumor on the MRIs, and it had invaded more of his skull, and it actually cracked open his skull and got into his brain. So the second surgery, they removed a little bit more of his skull and a part of his brain.
Oh my. To get this scar tissue or this
Yep.
growth tissue out. Well, we celebrate and we shout because I remember when y'all told me that it wasn't cancer, and his persistence. Listen, I want you to understand this, Ashley. Some people try to correct. I got my book right here next to me. It's like on speed. Got it right. Oh, you want a book? Here, I got you.
Got you.
Some people try to correct the subtitle of my book because it says, no matter the adversity, you still can make it, right? You got your copy there too, right?
Yep.
Yeah. And some people try to correct it and say, no matter the adversity, you can still make it, right? They try to correct it because that sounds like a better English flow. But I put still before can on purpose. I did that on purpose. I didn't care nothing about no English language. Here's what I cared about. That still means still. See, can means, well, you might, you may, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
as long as you have breath, as long as there still is breath in your body, you still got hope.
I
And
love that.
Troy said, I don't care what the doctors say. I don't care what the diagnosis says. I am not giving up because I'm breathing. So you still can make it, Troy. And I believe that there's hundreds and thousands of Troys out there in this world who need people like Ashley Jackson in their corner. And so, Ashley, what you did after you guys got, after we got on the road to recovery, and I actually got to meet Troy on one of our shows. It was a huge blessing for me. It was like meeting a superstar. But you decided that you were going to go, you were going to take your experience and you were going to start helping other people. I'm going to extend the show a little bit because I want you to be able to tell this, what you got yourself into and what you're doing now with the timeless dreamevents.com.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So, I really wanted to help other caregivers. I just wasn't sure how. I love event planning. I did it a lot for family and friends, and just working with a business mentor of mine. During COVID, I came up with this idea to mesh my passion with purpose.
Yeah.
So Timeless Dream Events was literally born out of the ashes of my mess. So my messing became a blessing.
Ah.
Yes, I made that up. My
Go
messing
ahead. Go
became a
ahead, cuz.
blessing.
Yes. Go ahead. Strike up the organ, somebody. Go on, give her an offering. Go ahead.
So I help, anybody, but my heart and the core of Timeless Dream Events is there to help those that are terminally and chronically ill celebrate life and love and whatever that may be, whether it's a wedding, whether it's, their homegoing celebration, whether it's a birthday party.
Right.
That is what Timeless Dream Events is here to do. I also help, my fellow caregivers. I do run a support group on Facebook. So,
How do they find that?
it's caring for the caregiver. Treat yourself, caring for the caregiver.
Okay, treat yourself, caring for the caregiver. And that's
Yep.
going to be really important. I think I'm going to refer some people to that group. It's a private
Okay.
group.
And I can tag it on
Yeah, why don't you do
our
that
chat
on
too.
our
Yeah.
live? Yeah.
Yep, I can do that. But yeah, that's what I'm here to do. It's been really interesting because my father always told me, and I wrote about this in the book. It's in one of the first couple chapters how he took me to a cemetery, and this is when I was like maybe 14, and he said, like, look around, what do you see? I'm like, a grave site. He said, no, this is full of untapped potential.
Mm.
You don't want to be like this. You want to live to your potential. You want to live to your purpose. Well, Dad, what's my purpose? He said, I can't tell you that. You're going to figure it out one day. So when I figured it out, he always told my brother and I to chase our purpose, chase our dreams. Everything else will fall into place after that. And literally the past 2 years since I launched Timeless Dream Events, things have fallen into place. It's been an interesting ride. Shortly after I was emboldened to launch my business in the midst of COVID, a year later, I became a published author
Yeah.
to tell my story about losing, growing up with a father and mother like I did, losing my father, then, Troy, and almost losing him, and how that's really shaped the woman that I've become.
Yeah, that's powerful. And again, you can get all this at timelessdreamevents.com. One of the things I look at the back of the book that I have, Lost Travel Found by Ashley Jackson. It says, it's not just about my caregiving journey. It's a story that will remind you how to overcome a victim mentality to become a victor. It will inspire you to dream big. This book will make hope call your name again. Now, when I saw that line, I said, now, why couldn't I have come up with that? That's powerful. When hope calls your name, will you be brave enough to answer? You won't be disappointed. Let the adventure begin. And Ashley, when I saw that you came, because we have a process for people getting on the show, but I think I was the one reaching out, and I was so glad that, because I know you're very, very busy. I was so glad that we got to, because you're the second to last show of the year for me. And so, that's that they say you say the best for last, you know what I'm saying?
Hey.
And I want you to know, Ashley, aside from my little rant the other day, I want you to know that you always have a place. If you want to come on here and promote an event or promote what you're doing, all you got to do is just give me a little advance notice, a jingle
I
message,
love that.
Facebook, and because that's truly what I see people in your state of mind doing. They take their pain and they turn it into a purpose.
Absolutely.
Just like with my book. The interesting thing is, y'all want to know what Ashley came on here to do tonight? Her and I didn't talk a lot before the event. Her purpose for coming on here tonight was to talk about my book. And I said, no, Ashley, we're talking about you, sister. And but again, I want you to understand, that's the type of character of Ashley Jackson. That's the type of person that she is. She's truly about helping others. So I want you to go to Amazon.com or go to TimelessDreamEvents.com. Get a copy of her book. Go to her website and get the signed copy. I don't even offer my book on Amazon. I don't even tell them to go to Amazon. You know why? Because I want them to get the autographed copy.
Autograph
You know why? Because
copy.
that's going to be the one worth the money on eBay, baby. No, I'm just playing.
I
But
love that.
Ashley, you and Troy are truly an amazing love story. I look at some of the titles in your book are titles of songs.
Uh-huh.
One she titled, which is really moving, is the one with Luther Vandross. Was that "Dance with My Father"? Yeah,
Yes.
I can hardly even listen to that song. It's so special. And Ashley poured a lot of her heart and soul and her experience into this until the end of time. Justin Timberlake. So she take "Count on Me," Whitney Houston and CeCe Winans. So she takes us down this journey of when you lose yourself in the midst of pain, you can be found again. And Ashley Jackson is exactly that type of person. So tell us what the future looks like for Ashley. That's a new question. I haven't said that question before. What's the future look like for Ashley Jackson?
The future is looking good. We had and caregivers went you can't say we when you're talking about you and the person you're taking care of, because you're going through it with them too.
Right.
We had a health scare this past year
Right.
with
I saw.
Troy. So now that he's on the mend, again, I plan on, just releasing some master classes, which I have on my website right now as well. January 14th, I am doing a master class on how to self-publish your book.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
I just went down that painful journey, and that's something like I
it
want to do that same thing because that's it. Are
it's
you
a
part?
whole
Are you,
it's a whole
yeah, it
job.
is. Are you in our leadership institute?
I believe so.
Okay, well you can promote it on there too.
Oh, okay.
You can promote use that group like your own. Just promote what you do.
Okay.
But yeah, that's. I'm so glad that you're doing that because I could have, like you, I could have went another route and let somebody else publish do everything for me and just let me do the manuscript. But I intentionally wanted to feel every ounce of the work.
Yeah.
You know what I mean, I'm still feeling it because I'm the shipping company now. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? So that's great that you're offering master classes for self-publishing and get more authors involved. I gave this number on our launch party that only 49,000 people in 2021 set out to write a book, and only 6% of those were African American. So it's important what you're doing, Ashley.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want people to join me. It's on the website. It's on my Facebook profile page. How to sign up for that as well. People can join me January 14th. Uh, it's going to be about 2 to 3 hour long masterclass because it's a lot of information. It's a lot
Yeah.
of information that I gathered. It took me way longer than 2 to 3 hours to
Oh,
gather.
heck yeah, yeah. I didn't even look. I didn't even know where to get my ISBN number from. I
Yeah.
wound up
So,
messing that up when I first
uh-huh.
started.
So I show you how to do all that,
Yeah,
who to use to format your book, how to become an Amazon bestseller. I'm not here to brag, but I did it.
yeah,
So I wanted to put my process into something that others can use as a blueprint. You don't have to do it like I did it,
yeah.
but why
You
not?
got, so you got a flyer for that too?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, well, put it in our leadership group. Send me a copy of it. We'll promote it. And that's when is that? January 14th?
Yes.
Yeah, everybody will be done with gift giving, and hopefully they'll be recovered and have a little coin because this ain't a free class, right?
No.
you have to invest.
Yes.
And let me just speak to y'all business owners out there. Ashley and I was talking off camera. There's this thing called value, and there's this thing called worth. And Ashley is worth whatever the cost is to be a part of this class, of this master class. It's worth it because she put the work in, and I wish I had had a mentor. I didn't have a single mentor writing my book. Now I have my team who are authors, but they all self-published, so they couldn't really guide me. So I was like making all kind of mistakes, man. But it was good because that's how you learn, you know?
It's a learning process. So absolutely. So that is what is on the horizon for me. Otherwise, just getting ready for next year,
Yeah.
new weddings to help people with, and I do want to start on a second book at some point.
You really want to start on the second book on purpose?
On purpose. Yep.
Yeah, I'm like, the next book that I write, which Danny, our chief strategist, he's gonna help me write it. We're not self-publishing. We're gonna write the manuscript, then we send it away because I ain't going through that no more.
I hear you.
One
I
time
hear
is
you.
enough. So listen, we're at the end. We started late so we could end late, and Greg gave me permission to go longer.
Thank you, Greg.
Thanks, Greg. But I want you to know that your story, we got to spend 35 minutes telling many years worth of agony and pain.
Yeah.
And there are people that will tune into this show later who are going through probably maybe the same struggle that you went through. I want you to take the next 40 seconds and I want you to speak to those people directly the caregivers, those that feel like they've lost themselves and they're trying to find themselves. The floor is yours.
Okay, thank you. Just take a moment to breathe. Everything will come together how it should. It might not be in your time and how you like it, but just breathe. Take time for yourself. Start with the 5 minutes and build your way up. Reach out to people. Join my Facebook group. You can surround yourself with like-minded people and just know that you are to be celebrated too. You are doing a big thing, and it's okay to just feel the feels when you feel them,
Yeah.
and you will not be judged. You are loved and you are cared for. And just feel your way through life. I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah.
You just find what brings you joy and stay in that.
Hey man, that's very powerful. You know, I love what Ashley is so authentic. She has such a sweet spirit, y'all. And y'all can tell that her heart is a heart of gold. But oftentimes, you know, like with our master class, people want to know the 10 steps to get there and then make them an expert. But I love the way Ashley kind of revealed her vulnerability in her response to you all, because there isn't necessarily a silver bullet. She said something really key. She said, you got to kind of feel your way through this, but just know that you're not alone. And if you feel like you are alone, reach out. Don't, you know, even though in those times where you feel isolated, man, find someone that you can connect with. And she gave herself as an option. So connect with her. Go to Ashley Jackson on Facebook and just reach out to her. If you're caring for a loved one, a family member, a spouse, whatever, you never know. You may not be caring for someone right this moment, but preparation is important. Man, she can give us some keys to get prepared. So we bless you, Ashley. We bless your business. We pray that everything is tenfold, 100-fold in 2023. And like I said, there's a handful of folks that have an open door invitation to IL 247. I want you to consider yourself one of them, okay?
Thank you.
All right. So you tell Troy next time you come on, he got to be on with us, all
I
right?
will. I will
Yeah,
do that.
because Troy, my homeboy, man. Tell him we're praying for him and we
Thank you.
love him. And if you guys need anything, you know, I'm just a message away.
Thank you.
All right, Ashley?
Thank you for
That
having
was
me
Ashley
again.
Jackson, guys. We'll talk to you next time. Thank you so much. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's it for us at Impacting Life 24/7. And that's it for tonight. Thank you, Greg, for riding with us, brother. Troy, Troy's amazing, man. Did you get to meet him, Greg? Troy? He was a super, super guy, and just a smooth brother, man. I love him and Ashley's story, and Ashley's book, Lost Travel Found, man. And you know, look, I have all the authors that I've had on this show. I have their books close by here in the studio, and man, I would pick up Ashley's book. I would pick up Skip Mondragon's book. I would pick up Nisi Jordan's book. I'd pick up Greg Smith's book, man. And in the times when I didn't feel like finishing the work, I would just look and read a few of their pages and realize, man, they did it. I can do it. Here's what I want you to know, ladies and gentlemen, that no matter the adversity, man, listen to her story. A 35% survival rate. And Troy said, I'm not going to die today. And those are the type of people that we bring to Impacting Life 24/7. This is the type of programming. This is why we spent so much money to make this a top shelf program. I didn't just want to be having some crackly, shaky cell phone talking to somebody on a Facebook Live with low fidelity. We try to bring you the highest quality because we bring very high quality guests. And Ashley Jackson is no exception. Thursday night, we close this whole thing out. We close the entire season out, Greg. The season of Impacting Life 24/7 will be done this Thursday night at 7 o'clock. We close it out with none other than our friend, Bettina Carey. And Bettina is in the western part of the world. And Bettina has been, she's one of our platinum sponsors. She is such a business builder, and she has an organization called We Empower You and We Empower Your Life. She has taken a risk several times by having me speak at her national conference, and she has blessed us so. And so it's so fitting that we get to close the year out with a warrior and a champion like that, Bettina Carey. And if you're looking to try to get in connection with someone who has shattered the glass ceiling of revenue and opportunity, you're going to want to tune in, because I'm going to ask her some very specific questions this Thursday about how people actually get involved with what she's doing, and what the expectations are and what the results are. So tune in this Thursday, 7 o'clock, for our closeout episode of the season. What are we? I don't know what season we're in. I just know that we've been doing this a while. We not novices no more, baby. But join in with us for our closeout season closeout with Bettina Carey, all the way from Washington State. And we will join back again in 2023 with one purpose, that is impacting one life, one day at a time. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ashley Jackson. We love you. Get her book, Lost Travel Found.